Okay, where has all the love gone? And why don't we write letters anymore? Let's have an animated discussion. Mr. Kralik, the longest standing employee at Metacheck and Company, has fallen in love with a pen pal he's never met. He's finally ready to meet her, but then interactions at work start to take a really ugly turn, making him hesitate to move forward with anything in life. This movie stars Margaret Sullivan, James Stewart, Frank Morgan, Joseph Schildkraut, and was written by Samson Raphaelson, Miklos Laszlo, Ben Hecht, and was directed by Ernst Lubitsch. Going from the shop on Main Street immediately into the shop around the corner was a form of whiplash I was not ready for. As soon as I saw good old Jimmy on the playbill, I expected romance. I literally wrote that in my notes. I don't think I've ever seen a movie with Stewart that did not include some form of love or family in some way. And I was not disappointed. The Shop on Main Street is a really cute, feel good movie. There aren't too many moments of anxiety as much as there are moments of confusion or surprise. This movie is based off the Hungarian play Parfumery by Miklos Laszlo, which was also later the inspiration for You Got Mail with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks, so it's definitely in good company. If you haven't seen You Got Mail, do you even believe in romance? Do you like a rom com? Because if not, what are you doing? Right off the bat, we see a few things that establish the relationships in the movie very quickly. The first is that Mr. Vadash is an issue. The way that he twists anything anyone says immediately. Listen, I've met a few people like Mr. Vadash, whatever his name is. Let's just say we're not friends anymore. You can tell no one trusts him, and I doubt anyone even likes him. But what I like about this is the way they played him. I thought he would only be a nuisance throughout the movie. I didn't think he would have such a big role to play, and he plays it well. He kind of reminds me of Randall from Monsters Inc. a little bit. He's just this annoying guy at work who is jealous of the main character because the main character is good at what he does. Listen, we respect a sugar baby here, even if they're a piece of work. But that respect goes out the window when you're willing to trample everyone to get what you want. He looks like Danny Kaye if Danny Kaye were a villain. Here's something that I think is very interesting. Something that I enjoyed watching immensely was the interactions between Mr. Matichek and Mr. Kralik. Because Mr. Matichek owns the shop, but it really looks like Mr. Kralik is the one who runs it. At one point, I was even surprised when Mr. Matichek says that it took him an hour to decide whether or not he even liked the cigarette box that played Ojichora every time you opened it. How he was able to run a successful business while being that indecisive is both concerning and impressive. It's kind of awe-inspiring because sometimes it takes forever to figure out what I'm even going to wear for the day. Mr. Kralik not liking the cigarette box immediately sends Mr. Matichek back into a spiral as he was certain he had made the right choice. After some back and forth, a quick conversation in his office, and a wannabe sales clerk and Miss Novak selling the prototype fairly quickly, we find that Mr. Manichek buys a whole slew of them, and none of them sell. After this whole debacle, Mr. Matichek and Miss Novak seem to be mean to Kralik, though both for very different reasons. And Kralik's kind of at a loss as to why. He tries to help both of them out. Now he's a little blunt in his approach, but he's got a good heart. This is the problem with intimidation. It can lead you to make assumptions about someone immediately. Mr. Matichek assumes that Mr. Kralik is the one having an affair with his wife because Mr. Kralik isn't a yes man, isn't just going to do what Mr. Matichek wants if it's bad for the company. He starts to push back at everything Mr. Kralik says and starts to fight him for no good reason. It's very interesting to watch a very established man who have like six people waiting for him to open the door every morning suddenly be insecure about his number one salesperson. What's so interesting is toward the end of the movie, Mr. Matichek reveals that the only reason he thought Mr. Kralik was sleeping with his wife was that he was the only one who he had invited to the house. And that's sort of true. Mr. Kralik was the only one invited to his house for dinner. But Pepe was at their house every day running errands. So if we're using the assumption that only someone who has been at the house is the possible affair, what's the word for it? What's the male word for mistress? Is the possible mister. We'll go with that. Pepe was even more of a candidate than Mr. Kralik. So why assume Kralik? Intimidation and insecurity. Everything can fall back to Mr. Matichek finding proof where there is none. Mr. Kralik buying flowers for his wife for the dinner, even though that was polite and customary, suddenly became proof of something sinister. Mr. Matichek being correct about the music boxes didn't really matter so much as it felt like Mr. Kralik was just trying to tear him down in that moment. It started to feel like Mr. Kralik was just being arrogant and knew more than Mr. Matichek, and this was Matichek's own company. It became one thing after another, after another, after another, that just showcased how Mr. Kralik was never on Mr. Matichek's side. That's scary. Everything Mr. Kralik did was for the good of the company. Mr. Matichek didn't see it that way. The one person who was very smart to me in this movie was Mr. Pirovich. Every time Mr. Matichek would say, I want your honest opinion, don't let me influence you, just give me your honest opinion. Mr. Provich was hiding. We see him go into the stockroom. We see him go up the stairs. We see him come back down the stairs and then go back up when he realized Mr. Matichek is saying the same thing over and over and over again. This was so he wouldn't have to answer. And I think it was wise. Stay in the middle lane. Heads off to you, Mr. Pirovich. Now, on to Ms. Novak. She starts to fall for Mr. Kralik's charm and looks, and because she's so young, she has no experience in attracting men. She mentions toward the end of the movie that she was sorry for being so mean, but she had read that men like it when women are mean to them, and that's how you attract them. So she gave it a shot. And what do you know? He didn't fall for her. He fought back. She admits to this being the cause of their tension. Listen, we've all had that moment where we try to learn how to flirt. It's not pretty. Y'all, oh gosh, the stories. I was a terrible flirt. And when I say was, I mean last week. Like, we don't have to talk about it. She was so intimidated and attracted to him, she couldn't be herself. And as such, she didn't take the time to really get to know him. She just treated him like a bore, and so a bore is how he responded, leading them to push their relationship back a few spaces. They could have fallen for each other a lot quicker than they did. As you could see, they loved each other dearly in the letters. But in person, there was a guard there. And we'll get to that later. Hmm. I love a hint. A little foreshadowing, if you will. Have you ever done nothing wrong, but people are intimidated by you, so they automatically make you the villain? And I wonder if this has to do with previous ways of survival. So think of it this way. Daddy long legs, they're not poisonous. But if you're afraid of spiders, you can be afraid of a daddy long legs. Are they dangerous? Not at all. Are they a nuisance? Yeah, especially if they're in your house. But back in the day, when we were living in huts and villages, in forests and woods, spiders could be dangerous. I mean, they still are now, but they were a much more bigger problem back then. A poisonous spider could kill you dead. And so I think that being afraid of a daddy's long legs is a genetic DNA passed down from generation to generation. It's dangerous to be afraid of this thing. And so I wonder if being intimidated by someone who appears greater than you or is showcasing a wisdom that you do not possess leads you to feel as if your position in the village is being threatened. I wonder if this is a prehistoric type of fear that is embedded in our system, because there are so many times where we see people who have done nothing wrong, but because people are intimidated by them, they become the bad guy. They get ousted, they get pushed away. And this has happened to anyone who I've noticed has a certain confidence about them. Suddenly, everyone is wary of them. Why are you so confident? What's wrong with being confident? And we see this with Mr. Kralik. He hasn't done anything wrong, but everybody is pushing back on him. That's fascinating to me. This is a question to ask yourself when you're working on your main character. Do you want your hero to have a foil that happens to them, or to be the cause of their own issues? In this case, Kralik doesn't really do anything to be considered the bad guy. All of his issues are based off of how people perceive him because they are intimidated. Do you want your hero to stand strong in the face of adversity, or make mistakes and learn through fixing problems they unintentionally caused? Both of them can be engaging heroes, but how you attract them, how you help them navigate the issues that come to them will be vastly different based on what you choose their adversity to be. Something to think about. Makes me excited to write. Okay, before we move forward, I have a big announcement. I am so excited. We are going to do a quick commercial break for one of the best animation studios in the world. Broke Writers Animation has just released the teaser for their upcoming series, Chimera. Check it out. Guys, I have had the distinct pleasure of knowing Broke Writers Animation personally, and when I say this project has been a passion for them for years, I am not exaggerating. I've been watching the two of them work on this project nonstop. They've been freelancing artists to make sure their project stays AI free and that all the art on the project is human made creation. If you love indie animation and are excited to continue to watch their project grow, check out Broke Writers Animation on IG and YouTube. You'll also be able to see the full fledged trailer come out in a month. Guys, this project is really cool. I'm like, I was so excited. Dude, I just wanted to talk about them. You guys are gonna love them. You are gonna love them. Their storytelling is amazing. Guys, you gotta check it out. This is so cool. I'll be sure to put their links in the description. Now back to the show. Something that this movie does very well and can be a very good lesson in storytelling is the parallels we see between the cigarette boxes and Mr. Matichek's feelings toward Mr. Kralik. Think of it this way. As we've said before, Mr. Matichek really likes the boxes. After a long time of thinking about it, he's finally confident in his decision. He approaches his most trusted employee, who hates them for good reason, but his other employees sing the praises of them to kingdom come. Someone even sells one, so he buys a whole inventory and none of them sell. Now, walk with me for a minute. In this journey with the cigarette boxes, Mr. Matichek goes through a series of emotions. We see uncertain, confident, confused, uncertain again, affirmed in his actions, and disillusioned. Okay, we have that spectrum. Now, watch this. In his relationship with Mr. Kralik, we can see that he is confident in his trust in the man. Then he starts to get uncertain when he mentions how much his wife loved having Mr. Kralik at dinner. Then he gets confused at how Mr. Kralik never agrees with him. Then he shows confidence that he knows better than Mr. Kralik when Miss Novak is able to sell the prototype of the cigarette box for a higher price than he wanted to sell them for. And then he's disillusioned with Kralik once he finds out about the affair with his wife. He goes through this whole slew of emotions through the cigarette box and through his relationship with Mr. Kralik. This movie has a few parallel moments, one of them being the bicarbonate soda that Mr. Kralik and Mr. M both asked Pepe to buy since they had a little too much lamb. But the cigarette box is the big one throughout the whole movie. You can even see it when Mr. Kralik kicks Mr. Vadish out of the shop and he hits the display of music boxes. Both forms of trash are being destroyed and taken out at the same time. I love how everyone rushes to grab the boxes to get them to be quiet, and no one helps Mr. Vadish up. If you're looking for a good way to further express the emotions of your story or your character, this is a good way to do it. Find an analogy that you can hold on to throughout the project that can either emphasize your feelings or showcase them before the true moment of what's happening is revealed. Guys, I'm giving you gold. Gold nuggets right here. Check this out. You see it? It's beautiful. One of my favorite shots that I could not find a clip of is when Miss Kovac is reaching into the P.O. box for a letter from her pen pal after he stood her up at the restaurant. You can see the eagerness and finally the disappointment in her hand when she realizes there's nothing there, and then looks down to confirm with her own eyes. The hand acting is truly so good, and it's amazing to see how much emotion can be portrayed with just one part of the body. Truly, only one. You don't get to see the rest of her body in this shot, it's all covered with the mailboxes. I had learned that Sullivan, the actress who played Miss Kovac, worked so hard on her acting that she would stop rehearsal if she felt her coworkers didn't caption the emotion correctly. You can see the proof of that here. You can see how hard she is trying to show that devastation just through her hand. Just her hand. Guys, have you ever felt something so much that every part of your body expresses that emotion? It truly takes a toll on the body. So, to fabricate that emotion, that's gotta be a strong, intense feeling. You also see it magnified in her face. She is wearing that emotion wholeheartedly. And if you couldn't read it in the hand, it is confirmed in her face. That is beautiful. A lot of people think acting is just what you do with your face. Acting is a full body experience. And if you can't convince your whole body to feel the emotion, a lot of times your audience isn't going to feel it either. Dang, I'm spitting facts, y'all. Vulnerability is a theme here in this movie, in the sense that that is the price of trust, the vulnerability. Mr. Matichek says it perfectly when he says, 22 years I've been married. 22 years I was proud of my wife. Well, she didn't want to grow old with me. Ugh. That is heart wrenching. Who doesn't want to have someone with them until the end of their life? It doesn't have to be a spouse, but knowing that someone will be there at the end of your days and you realize that they don't want that with you. Stab me in the heart, why don't you? Man, this is something we also see with Kralik and Miss Novak. They're vulnerable with each other when they can't see each other. When they can see each other, the wall is, this might as well be the Great Wall of China at this point. There's a cost to vulnerability that Mr. Matichek paid, and it almost cost him his life. And Kralik and Novak almost weren't willing to pay it, and almost cost them their love. Woo! Ah! Ah! What a movie, guys. What a movie. Between Mr. Kralik and Miss Novak, we see two very different versions of themselves. One is the ideal that they both portray to their pen pals. They kind of talk themselves up a little bit. Their guards are down. They say whatever they want to say, within reason, obviously. And the other is their ugly side that they shove down each other's throats at work. It's very interesting to me that we rarely get to see each of them in the middle. The only difference between love and hate is whether you hold the other person's hand. Both emotions are so similar that you're basically just on a spectrum. For example, take this interaction right here when Kralik knows who Novak is, but she hasn't a clue about her pen pal yet. She takes a minute to really give it to him. A dude who's just lost his job, by the way. Like, she knows he's had a bad day. And he is kind of pushing the envelope a bit, but she takes the time to say, "Yes, I know just the kind of man you are, Mr. Kralik. Instead of a heart, a handbag. Instead of a soul, a suitcase. And instead of intellect, a cigarette lighter that doesn't work." Trick, like, dang. Remind me to never get on your bad side. I am Miss J clutching my pearls at this moment. But when you hear about their letters, all the words they write are beautiful to each other. The ideal and the reality of who they are the same thing, just one has a little less varnish. So the question is, when you meet someone, can you handle their best for long periods of time? And are you willing to handle their worst for even longer? People are usually bad longer than they are good. Their baseline is the only thing not exhausting to uphold, and the baseline is rarely when they're at their best. Are you sure you can handle it? Because sometimes the thing that makes you fall in love with someone becomes the thing that makes you cry at night. And are you willing to risk that? Overall, I give this movie 3.5 out of 5 OG Toya cigarette boxes. I think this movie is cute and adorable. It leaves you with a feel good feeling. And I really like the writing. It's just in comparison to everything else I watched on this list so far, it doesn't hit as hard for me as the others. And that's okay. They're not all supposed to. And I like how soft and safe it makes me feel. Don't at me. Be gentle. That's all the time we have. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. As always, I hope you have an amazing day and see you later.